After stepping out the door, they got into the car. Li Wenxing and the others quickly arrived at a hospital that had been sealed off. Not only was the hospital locked down, but several surrounding streets were also cordoned off with police tape, guarded by a large number of soldiers. All vehicles had to detour. To enter the hospital, one had to show a pass. Even Li Wenxing was no exception. Divine doctors, this hospital is filled with plague patients. To avoid accidents, it's best if you both wear protective masks. Before passing through the checkpoint, Li Wenxing thoughtfully handed out gas masks. Of course, in addition to a gas mask, he also wore a full protective suit, appearing extra cautious. After all, he had been weak and sickly since childhood. If he caught the plague, he might drop dead. Zhong Xiang and Fan He didn't refuse. They obediently put on the gas masks and followed Li Wenxing into the hospital. The hospital had been almost completely cleared out. Inside were only stationed soldiers and a few medical staff wearing gas masks. As for the infected patients, they were assigned to different floors and rooms based on the severity of their symptoms. Li Wenxing took them directly to the 18th floor via elevator. This floor housed several critically ill patients who were hanging on to life by a thread. Besides 2 soldiers guarding the entrance, only 1 nurse was inside, tending to the patients. The so-called care was simply administering occasional injections to ease their pain. Divine doctors, I won't go in with you. Please take a look yourselves. Li Wenxing stopped at the doorway, then signaled the nurse to escort Zhong Xiang and Fan He into the room, while he waited outside. With his status, bringing them this far was already a significant gesture of respect. If it had been Li Guanglong or Li Juntang, they wouldn't have gone to such lengths. Zhong Xiang and Fan He didn't come out for quite a while. Li Wenxing paced back and forth at the door, occasionally peeking through the window to check on them. After nearly half an hour, Zhong Xiang and Fan He finally emerged. Divine Doctors Zhong and Fan, what's the situation with the plague patients? Is there still hope? Li Wenxing immediately asked. He had never cared so much about the life or death of ordinary people until now, because the fate of those patients would determine whether the plague could be brought under control. Your Highness, the situation is even worse than we expected. Zhong Xiang spoke first. The plague infecting these patients is unusually severe. We've never seen such an aggressive virus. Based on their current state, they likely won't make it through the night. What about you, Divine Dr. Fang? You're an expert in pharmacology and detoxification. Even you can't deal with this plague? Li Wenxing looked to Fan He with hope in his eyes. To be honest, Your Highness, with my current knowledge, I'm unable to cure this plague. Fan He shook his head solemnly. Moreover, I believe this plague is not a natural disaster. It's man-made. What do you mean? Li Wenxing raised an eyebrow. I've just finished examining the patients. This plague is not only extremely contagious, but it's a combination of multiple viruses, something I've never seen before. Unless someone did this on purpose, I can't think of any other explanation. Fan He explained. I'll assign someone to investigate that angle thoroughly. But the urgent matter now is to develop an antidote. Otherwise, all the infected will die. I'm counting on you both. Li Wenxing said sincerely. Please give us some time, Your Highness. We'll come up with a solution as soon as possible to minimize casualties. Zhong Xiang said. If there's anything either of you need, just say the word. I will fully support you, Li Wenxing promised. Your Highness, your compassion is admirable. We will not let you down, Fan He assured him. After a few more polite exchanges, the 2 doctors stopped talking and got to work. One delved into ancient medical texts, while the other began preparing formulas. The critically ill patients in those rooms had now become their test subjects. Under normal circumstances, they wouldn't do such a thing, but desperate times call for desperate measures. To save more people and develop a cure faster, they had no choice. Meanwhile, in Lin City, the situation on Li Guanglong's side wasn't any better. Since arriving in Lin City last night, they had discovered dozens of plague patients. The most alarming part was that by the next morning, the number of infected had grown to 200 or 300. Local doctors in Lin City were useless. He had no choice but to request reinforcements from Stonia. He made the call, but even by air, it would take most of the day for help to arrive. He could only wait. If he had known things would turn out this way, he would have brought a medical team with him last night. At least it could have stabilized the situation. Your Highness! At this moment, Wan Chong walked in and reported quietly. The number of infections is still rising. Several nearby towns heard about the outbreak in Lin City, and people are fleeing. Half the city is already in a panic. Didn't I tell you to keep this under wraps? How did it get so out of hand? Li Guanglong frowned. We arrived too suddenly, and we don't have enough capable personnel. The local officials in Lin City only pretended to cooperate. In reality, they were lazy and didn't take the plague seriously. They thought it was just a normal flu, which led to things spiraling out of control, Wan Chong explained. Useless bureaucrats. They're eager when it comes to embezzling, but when there's a real crisis, they're completely useless. Once I've brought the plague under control, I'll have them all removed. Li Guanglong growled. Your Highness, now isn't the time for accountability. The most important thing now is to contain the outbreak, or the consequences will be disastrous. Wan Chong said urgently. There's only one way left. To control the spread of the plague, we must lock down the city. Li Guanglong's face darkened. Although he didn't want it to come to this, the news had already spread. Chaos in Lin City was inevitable. Only a city-wide lockdown could minimize the losses.
And just can't accept it. This can't be the end yet. You promised to never leave, and now you're gone. Can't believe I can feel the world slipping away as you slowly fade from my everyday. You promised forever a love without end, but now